After that 0-2 start, Arlington falls to 3-4, 2-2 in the South. Now the standings updated after this dub for the Sea Dragons. Now half game in front of St. Louis. Battlehawks and the Roughnecks coming up later this weekend. And the matchup that we've been talking about tonight and the one we'll all be talking about this coming week. Next week, it's Sunday night. DC heads up north to face the Sea Dragons.
Just flips it. Oh, what a catch.
Ellison for the score. I think you should be on watch for the Seattle team.
Abram Smith, how about it? They intercepted off the carom. It's picked off, and this is going to be a house call. DC Defenders, the only undefeated team in the XFL.
Yeah, a little bit of a respite now for the Sea Dragons, celebrating in the locker room here in Arlington. It feels good, Joey, right? You get the dub, you're feeling good in the locker room, celebrate with your teammates.
Yeah, for sure, especially if you're Seattle now and you've now won 5 in a row after starting 0-2. They're feeling really good in that locker room. And
you fast forward and think about as well what happened in week 1. It was 22-18. DC got the win. It feels like it. DC's run the table since then, of course, but from a Sea Dragons perspective, you have to believe it feels like a different team and a different season. Sunday, ESPN2, the place to be for that matchup. We'll be on the call. We look forward to that. And they'll close out with the Battlehawks and the Vipers. But, you know, an entirely different team, it feels like, for Seattle when you've won 5 straight after that 0-2 start.
And I think they're pretty excited about the fact that they played DC in week 1. And in week 1, nobody knew anything about the other teams. They didn't have film. They didn't have scrimmages. They didn't practice as much. They didn't do any hitting. And so they went into that first week of games, and everybody talked about it's so strange not to know anything about your opponent and have to go play a game. And they played within 4 points of an undefeated team and the team that everyone considers to be the best team in the XFL right now. So if you're Seattle and now you have DC coming to Seattle at home, you're hoping to give them some of that good Seattle weather, a good drizzle going on up there. So you're pretty excited if you're Seattle about the position you're in.
Well, and don't forget, too, Jim Haslett mentioned it post-game today. He talked about it with us last week. It's a game they felt like that they should have won. There was a pick 6. There was a missed field goal. There were some first-game jitters, I think, that were part of that. And so all in all, now that you've won 5 straight, you got momentum on your side, and you go back to week 1 where you had a great chance. You couldn't close the deal. All right, now's the time to do that.
Yeah, now is the time to do that. And they also have St. Louis coming up on that schedule also. Yeah. And so if you're Seattle, after starting 0-2, you are now in a position where everything is right in front of you. So you love the way this thing has set up. You love they also played St. Louis within 2 points.
Right.
And so the two teams that they're worried about, they played them very closely, and they get a chance to play them again. So you're Seattle, you're pretty excited.
All right, and the playoff push continues for all of these teams. Arlington, even after the loss tonight, in a good spot considering what they have coming up. And week 7 starting officially tonight. We got 3 more games. Vegas, 2.5-point favorite against San Antonio. That's the first game tomorrow, 3 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2. Later on, Saturday evening, 6 Eastern. DC undefeated, a 9.5-point favorite in Orlando. We saw the Guardians last week against Seattle. They competed. That will be closely competed game, or competitive game rather, than the second half, you have to think. And then it will wind up week 7. Sunday, 2 Eastern, ESPN. Roughnecks, a 3-point favorite against the Battlehawks.
Yeah, and if you're Arlington, you know that you now have Luis Perez coming in. You traded for a quarterback that has been better than the quarterbacks you've had. So they were a half game up on San Antonio coming into this, or a game up on San Antonio coming to this game. And so they're still in a fine position also. They're still sitting there in second place. They got a quarterback coming in. We're going to see what they're made of moving forward. But both these teams should be feeling pretty good about their chance of getting to the playoff.
It's all about the postseason push, as all eyes are on the upcoming playoffs. Always a great time of year, and for the XFL, now starting week number 7, momentum continues. Vipers and Brahmas, Saturday, that's tomorrow, 3 Eastern, ESPN2. Be the second of 4 games this weekend. We look forward to each and every one. Great job tonight. by the Seattle Sea Dragons. 5 wins in a row for Tiffany Blackman. Eric McLean on the field. Joey Galloway here in the booth. Our director, Steve Turnberger. Our producer, Ben Hogg. I'm Roy Philpott. We say good night from the Metroplex. 24-15, Seattle.